Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the webinar. And today we're going to be talking about how to avoid losing money on your loads for owner operators. We are talking about semi truck owner operators. If you have your own truck, your own authority, or you're leased on to someone, this video will help you in order to save some money in these times. First thing, a quick note about me. My name is Enes. I've been 20 years in this industry. I started as a driver, drove about 10 years, a little bit more, and then started a couple of companies. One company I started in 2014, one authority, and the other one in 2020. And let's go quickly here to the first topic. If you're an owner operator, you have ability to choose your own lane. You can tell that to your dispatcher, talk to a broker, and tell them your preferences, where you like to go. And usually they have to abide by that. Now, some owner operators are going after the money. Some of them are going after lighter loads. Some of them just want to go out and drive a truck and make some money and enjoy trucking. So it doesn't matter what it is. At the end, we all want to make more money. That's the point of driving and being an owner operator and a truck driver. And I see some owner operators who will go after the money, but they will do some things that really don't make sense. Like I said, I have been driving myself, and as a dispatcher, I can see where the best loads are, which areas are best to be in, and which areas we should avoid. It doesn't matter if you're a drive-in driver or a reefer or a flatbed. That really doesn't matter. What matters is your mindset. With reefers, you do have to follow the seasonal freight if you want to stay on top of the game. That's somewhat the case with flatbeds, but flatbeds are mostly stable. And vans also sometimes, if you are doing a produce in a van, if you have a vented van, then you can follow that as well. But pretty much dry-van is usually the most stable one as far as the equipment goes. And the first thing I want to talk about here is the value of the RPM, rate per mile. We always will concentrate on that, but not enough, in my opinion. And you have to understand that certain areas and certain lanes will always give you different RPMs, different rate per mile. So usually the shorter loads are paid more per mile, and the longer loads are paying less per mile. Same thing if you're going into a really good area or a good area, these rates will not be paid as much as if you were going to a bad area. For example, if you're going to Florida or Colorado or East Coast, Northeast, and then even some of the states in the north, then you will most likely be paid less to go out of there. All right. So once you go there, you just have to count on the fact that you're going to be paid less. That's why they pay good money to go there. So if you see a great load going to Florida or to Denver, Colorado, and you're like, hey, I'm just going to take that, then you have to be aware of the fact that from there it's going to be very tough to go out. And that's why I generally avoid those areas unless the driver lives there and they have to go home, or they have to go there for another reason. Or maybe I do have some connections, I do have some loads out of there, or maybe this load paid so well that even if we go out empty or with a very cheap load from that area, then it makes sense to take that load. Okay, so those are the only instances where you will be okay in booking that load. And it also comes to preferences. Some drivers will like to drive loads that are like 2-day trips or 3-day trips. They just want to grab a load and just drive. But you have to be aware of the fact that these loads generally will pay less. All right. Let me just check on something here. Okay, we're good. So these loads will pay less per mile. All right. And I understand you want to just forget about having to load and unload every day. You want to be able to drive and enjoy driving and just hustle like that. But you have to be aware of the fact that these loads will not pay that much per mile. It will add up, like the whole rate will be more, of course, and you're gonna make that money easier. But if you're after the money, especially right now, you should consider doing shorter loads. Now, these loads don't have to be 100 or 200 miles. They can be like 500 or 600 miles, just like a one good day trip. So these loads generally will pay more per mile, and you will be able to make more money this way. Also, if you choose to do very short loads, if you do loads that are like 150 to like 250 or 300 miles, and a lot of times you can do 2 of these loads a day if you plan your trip. I had drivers who done that. I've done it myself as a dispatcher. I planned those trips, and we were able to get some really great money with these loads. But I do have some videos on my channel on Never Stop Trucking. That's my YouTube channel. I do have some videos that talk about that, how to do these short loads. And the good thing about these loads is that you're not going to be driving that many miles. You're not going to be spending much fuel. Maintenance as well is going to go down, and you can even stay regional or like in like a 2 or 3 state area where you're close to home. If something, especially if you have an older truck, if something breaks down, then you can come home faster and easier like that and fix your truck at home. So you have to really take into account the RPM. Now, miles balance, what I mean by that is you have to find the balance of like weekly mileage that you're able to do, that you're willing to do, and that makes sense financially to you. I see drivers who want to run, they want to drive like 3,000-4,000 miles a week, and they want to make money. But if, like, for example, driving, if you can only get up to like $2 per mile with the driving right now, you know that like your fuel is going to be over 60 cents per mile just for that. And you'll have maintenance and your other expenses. And the more you drive, the more fuel obviously you use. All right. And you just have to find that balance. To me, that's around between like 2,000 and 3,000 miles. If you go under 2,000 miles, then you're not going to be able to make enough money unless you do these really short loads. But if you're doing longer loads and you drive 2,000 miles, at the end of the week, by the time you pay your maintenance, if you have payments on your truck and trailer, your fuel and all other costs, and there are some fixed costs that you pay no matter if you drive 0 miles or 3,000 miles. So you have to take that into account. So if you drive under 2,000 miles, it better be these shorter loads where you can make more money. But then again, if you drive more than like 3,000, 3,500 miles a week, then you have to be aware of the fact that you're going to be using a lot more fuel, because you're probably going to be driving faster too. You're going to be driving more, and your truck is going to make more miles. It's going to break more often. You're going to have to do the PMs, the oil changes more often. There is a bigger risk. You're going to be more tired. You have to take into account all of that. And then short versus long hauls, we kind of touched on that earlier. And then staying in the most profitable lanes. Okay, so that's that's a thing that you as an owner operator have to figure out yourself. Like how how are you gonna be profitable on all of your lanes? Because usually you will have to uh, occasionally go to a bad area, and you will end up sometimes in a bad area. But in order to avoid that, you have to find a route that works for you and that you can stick to that route. I've heard some drivers saying that, hey, well, I want to change scenery, and I want to go to a different part of the country. This part is boring. I've been here so many times. I want to go someplace else and see. To me, that's like, if you're after money, that doesn't make sense. Don't do that. If you really don't care about money, and maybe if the markets are really good and you're going to get good loads, and you just want to do that just for the fun of it, okay, sure, it's your truck, your money, and your finances the best. But if you're after the money, and especially right now when most people are not making that much in truck driving, then to me, that doesn't make sense. Don't do that. Just stick to what stick to the lanes that you can make money at, and you will learn all these routes, all these highways, the loads, the routes. You will know where the truck stops are, where you can get the cheapest fuel, where you will find parking, rest areas. You will get to learn the shippers and receivers. You will most likely go a lot of times to same shippers and receivers, and that means a lot, or it makes your job much easier if you're familiar with that whole area as far as everything goes, the locations and profitability. All right. So once you find that those lanes that you like, that stick to that. I'm located in West Michigan, and I have drivers who go east all the time, but they only go out like 500 to 600 miles that way. So from Grand Rapids, Michigan, where excuse me, where we are, to Buffalo and Rochester, it's like 500-600 miles. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Carlisle, Hazleton, Pennsylvania, that's where they like to go. So they go there today and deliver, and then they pick up a load, come back, and they can do 2 trips, 2 round trips, go there and come back a week. Sometimes you can do even more, especially if you start on Sunday. So you could do 2 of these trips or 2.5. But that's what they've been doing for years, and this works for them. So we know that from here we're gonna get good money to go there to East Coast, and we know we're gonna get an okay money or even bad money coming back. But they understand that, like, you have to look at the profit and at the end of the week, not for each load, because you're not gonna be profitable same for each load. That's never gonna happen. And you're probably not going to be profitable at all for some of these loads. But you have to move from one area to another one to get that load that makes your profit. And then at the end of the week, when you're finished driving, then you can look at your gross revenue, your expenses, and then you will see your profit. Okay, so that's the best way to look at your profit every week. You can do it even every month, but that's a longer period of time. For me, the week, those 7 days, that's the best way when you put everything together to look at your profit. Now, some people will do it that way. They will go to a really good area for great money. I'm sorry, to a really bad area for great money, and then come out for okay money or bad money, and then do it all the time like that. Okay, and it will when you calculate all together, then you will see that you are actually profitable. Some people will go all over the country, and I understand that, but you can't just go everywhere. You have to pick an area. Like, are you going to stay in Midwest? Go to Midwest to South, to Southeast, to Northeast, maybe go to West Coast and come back. If you're all over the place, then eventually you're gonna go to an area where you're gonna be stuck there. There are really not going to be any loads, and that will ruin your whole week. So that's why you should stay in your familiar area. Some people will do a so-called triangle. For example, I'm talking about the lanes that I know, but you can figure that out with the help of your dispatcher, or with your own experience, or a broker. You can figure out where the three best areas are to be in United States, and make this either like 500 to 600 miles, or like 1,000 miles. So if you pick two cities, like for example, Grand Rapids to Dallas is around a little bit less than 1,100 miles. So that's a good 2-day trip. So if you find a city like that where you can get to in 2 days, or to like Rochester, New York, which is 600 miles, you get there in 1 day. Don't pick up a city that's like 300 miles away, or like 800 miles away, because that's not gonna give you a full day of driving. So once you pick up these three cities, maybe even four, but three is better, where they have good money, and where you can get in a 1-day trip driving or 2-day trip driving, and stick to that area. This is an example. If you go to from West Michigan to down to like let's say Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, Carolinas, if you go from here to there, you can get decent money. All right, and then you can also from there to East Coast get decent money. All right, and then you can come back from East Coast back to Carolinas, and then come back to Grand Rapids. Now you cannot do this in a week. It's gonna be tight. So the better way is go from West Michigan here to East Coast, where you're gonna get good money, and then from there go down to Carolinas, and then from there come back to Michigan. So that's a triangle. All right, and that's how you can plan your routes. Find that area in the country where you are, where you origin out of, and go out, and then find these 2 or 3 points, and then stick to that if they make you money. Okay, now next thing, we're going to be talking about negotiating with brokers. Give me 1 second. Okay. So in order to negotiate with brokers and your dispatchers, probably you will have to know where and when to go, and how to get the most out of that lane. So like we said before, that you can get good money to go to that area, and you can wait for that one load that pays you enough to go there, okay, or pays you great. So if a broker offers you a load that's not paying well to that area, you can get a better load. Now, if for some reason you end up in a bad area, like we said, you are in Colorado, Florida, Northeast, maybe even somewhere like Montana's up there, that you're not gonna get a good load out of there. Maybe sometimes you will have to go even empty to the next bigger city where they have better loads, or sometimes you will have to choose to pick up a really cheap load just to get out of there. I know some drivers that will stay there and wait for that load. This is stressful to you and to your dispatcher. Doesn't make any sense. You're at the end, you're gonna make less money. So you might stay there all day and wait for that load that you want, that pays well out of that area. And but the reality is that your dispatcher does not see any better loads that whole day, and even like for the past week or past months or ever. And your dispatcher knows that they're not going to be able to find you that load, and you still are turning down all these loads that they're offering. You're like, well, I'm not going to do them a favor. I'm not going to do it for free. What are they thinking? Well, it's what it is. If you go to that area, if you end up there, that's what you are gonna get, and you have to make peace with that. All right, if you want to be in the game, you have to play the game. uh, if this burns you one time, just don't go there anymore. All right, choose not to go there anymore, and that's end of the story. We always will sometimes lose money, no matter what kind of business you are in. Sometimes you will lose money. We don't want that. We're trying to prevent that, but it happens to most of us. So if you end up in that area, listen to your dispatcher. If your dispatcher tells you there are no loads, let's move you out of that area and bring you to a better area where we can find you a load. And let's forget about this whole story, and let's not go back there anymore. Let's not do it this way anymore. Then you should do that. You should do that, and you're not doing anyone a favor. You're not belittling yourself. All right, you're just being smart, and you just play the game and go out of that area to a better one where you can get a load. Um, it's some people will stay there for a day or two or more and wait for that one load, and that one load may come out. Okay, it may or it may not. But think about it. Even if you pick up a good load after 2 days of waiting, you wasted a whole day or maybe even 2 days not driving, just idling there, and losing your patience and your nerves and your dispatcher. You're giving your dispatcher much trouble because they also have other trucks to cover. All right, and then you might get into a fight with them. You may say things, they may say things to you, the owner, like your family, like you're gonna be when you talk to your family, they're gonna feel that as well. So don't do that. Just get out of that area. uh, Pick up whatever they give you, or just go out empty, whatever you want to do, and go to a better area, and let's continue in a week, because this way you still have a chance to make up for that time lost. All right, if you lose like half a day or one day, or you lose some money on that load, and there is still a chance. There's the other part of the week where you're going to be able to make up for that money. I'm sure of that. All right. So communication with the dispatcher and the broker, that's very important. And we're talking now about how to get money, how to get detention and layovers and truck order not used, and how to make sure you get the most of it, and how to make sure you actually get it. Because um, one part of getting that detention is on your dispatcher and on the broker, because if they're willing to cooperate. But a big part is also on you, and you make sure as a driver that you do your part. All right, because this way no one can blame you, and it starts with you. If you don't do your part, the dispatcher cannot do their part, or the broker. So it has to go in the order. First you do everything that you can, and then once that's done, then the dispatcher has to show their abilities to get you that money, and the broker has to show their willingness to for cooperation. If you don't do it, none of them will do it, because they will not have any leverage for negotiation for that. Okay, I understand sometimes you do everything that you did and you still don't get it, but at least it's not on you if you don't get it. All right, you did everything you could. So being on time gives you leverage in compensation for unforeseen events. If you're not on time, they will not give you the attention. That's it. All right. So you always have to make sure that you're on time. How do you do that? Well, when you book a load, you understand your hours and you understand your abilities. You know that you're an experienced driver. You have to give yourself time for the traffic, unforeseen circumstances, fuel, and if something breaks down, you get a flat tire. You have to plan on all of that, right? You cannot oversleep if there's going to be a storm, or a snowstorm, then you have to plan on that. You have to check the weather and make sure that you can get there. All right. And if you cannot get, you did everything you could, and you still can't get to deliver the pickup on time, then you have to communicate with dispatchers. Now you're preventing additional charges to your uh, rate that you got for that load. You're preventing them. You may not, like, you're already late, you may not be getting any money for detention or anything else, but now you're preventing charges to your rate confirmation. You're just telling them, hey, this is what happened. I was supposed, like let's say your appointment is at 10 a.m. in the morning, and you call them at 9:45, and you say, hey, I'm 2 hours out. That's not communicating. All right, you're too late. As soon as you know that you're going to be late 2 hours, you let them know. Like at night when you stop and you figure, okay, man, I'm not going to have any hours, just send them a text message, and you don't have to call anyone and recap, unless they have a 24-hour service or after hour service. Then you can call them and tell them that, whoever it is. Send them an email, send them a text message, tell them, hey, I'm going to be late. Or in the morning when you get up, 7 a.m., 6 a.m., just call them and tell them, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it on time. This way, they may be mad at you for a little bit, but you explain to them, what happened. And then, it's what it is. It's part of the business. It's normal that it happens. Everyone knows it will happen. But if you choose to not tell them that at all, or to tell them, like I said, 9:45, that you're going to be there 2 hours late, then they're going to be even more mad at you. And then there are going to be consequences. Probably, broker may charge you, and a broker may put the carrier on do not use list, and now the whole company suffers because you didn't tell them that you were not on time. Just one little phone call, 2 minutes of your time. That's all it takes. But if you don't do it, then there might be bigger consequences. So we don't want that. We want drivers to be communicative in dispatchers at all times. It would prevent so much trouble. Okay. So here's a little rundown of that. Tell dispatchers and brokers if you're going to be late in advance. Always let them know when you arrive and leave. You don't have to call. Usually text message is fine, or another way of communication if they have it. Everyone loves that. Like, hey, I just text them, just got to the shipper, arrived, loaded, I left, I will be there in an hour. Like, and don't text while driving, but just let everyone know, so they know. Like, if the broker calls them and asks them, hey, where is this driver? Are they over there yet? And you're like, oh yeah, well, they just texted me, they just arrived, they just left. So they don't have to call you and waste your time and waste their time. And it's just good to know, and it's more professional for everyone. Give me 1 second. If you're not being loaded and unloaded, let them know, dispatchers and brokers, that after 1 hour and again after 2 hours. So you get to your shipper or a broker, you get the shipper or receiver, and it's been like even like 30 minutes or 45 minutes, but at most an hour. Like that's the latest. Like, you've been there for 1 hour already and no one is touching you. Just text or call your dispatchers and tell them that. Okay. Ask them to reach out to the broker and actually have the broker do something. After 2 hours, again, text them, tell them, hey, detention is starting now. All right. So that puts pressure on the dispatcher, because you told them. All right. And if the dispatcher does not communicate with the broker, then you can take this against the dispatcher and take it with their manager or the owner of the company. Tell them, hey, I told them that after 2 hours, but they still didn't let the broker know. Now I don't have detention. What are we going to do about that? All right. So next time they will do it for sure. All right. And then if the dispatcher tells the broker, then they know that the pressure is gonna be on them. They're If they care at all, they will communicate with the shipper or the receiver, and they will tell them, hey, what's going on? Can we start loading this guy or unloading, because there will be detention and no one wants to pay that. Customer has to pay that and the broker has to pay that. So that no one wants that. All right, so this kind of it first updates them, it communicates with them, and then puts pressure on them to do something about it. And then also, if you don't tell them that on time, most brokers will not even pay you detention, because you didn't tell them that you were there for more than 2 hours. They didn't know. Maybe they could have done something. Maybe they could have called them and say, hey, what's going on. But this way, they didn't know anything. And how are they going to pay you? Because they had no idea what's going on. Maybe they could have done something. Probably not. Let's be real. Most of the times that doesn't do much, but at least you've done one of these steps that you were supposed to do, and they cannot say anything against you now. Okay. Also insist that your dispatcher calls or emails the broker and asks them to contact their customers. So don't just tell the dispatcher, hey, I'm detention is starting. Tell them, hey, let the broker know, or ask them after 10 minutes, what did the broker say? Like, it's been 2 hours now, and you told them the detention starts. Ask the dispatcher after like 10-15 minutes, did you call the broker? What did they say? All right. So this way you put more pressure on them, and you remind them. Maybe they forgot. Maybe your dispatcher forgot to call them. Maybe broker forgot to call the customer. Maybe the shipper forgot that you are even there. Okay. You can also go inside and ask them politely. You don't have to go every 5 minutes, but after 1 hour or 30 minutes or 2 hours, just go in and politely tell them, hey, I'm running out of my hours. If I don't pick it up on time, I'm gonna be late for delivery. Is it gonna be soon? Like, don't go in with an attitude and start bad mouthing them. No one likes that. Just it's okay. I know some drivers are saying, hey, if I go in and ask them, they're gonna do it. No, they're not gonna make it even worse. It's your right, as long as you're polite and they see that you have good intentions, that you're acting normally, like like a nice guy or a lady. Then most people will understand that. Okay. Once you're loaded and unloaded, write down in and out times on the BOL/POD, and remind your dispatcher about the detention and ask them to submit the POD to the broker. So that's very important. That's a very important step. If the shipper or receiver does not want to write those times for you, then you can do it yourself. That's totally fine. Just write down in 11 a.m. out 1 p.m. or whatever, 1:05. Take a picture, send it to your dispatcher, and then ask the dispatcher, say, hey, did you send this to the broker? All right. Ask them about that. So we'll talk about that on the next slide. Now, follow up with dispatcher every couple of days until they get the detention. All right. Don't just send it and like ask the dispatcher. Maybe the dispatcher forgot. Maybe they're too lazy to do it. You don't know, but like, as long as you remind them every couple of days. Sometimes brokers, it will take them like 7 days to do that. So remind them every day or every other day. Every day is maybe too much, but every other day for me is not. If they never get the detention, and that happens a lot, as we know, make a note of that broker and the name of the actual person for that broker for future references. Then now okay, or is that the broker that didn't give us the detention? Is that the guy? Like, when you talk to them, you tell them that, hey, like, we took this load with you guys, but you never paid attention. Why should I take this load again? Like, what happened to the other detention? So just so just have it in back of your mind who the broker is. To qualify for detention, truck order not used, or layover pay, you have to be on time and using tracking if they require that. Tracking is a very controversial practice. I made some videos about it. I don't like it myself, but most brokers right now will ask for it. And there's a big chance that if you don't track, that they're not going to give you detention or truck order not used or layover. I understand that doesn't make any sense, but I think it's just their way of avoiding having to pay you for that. Okay. So if you want to play the game, if you want to get attention, you unfortunately you will have to be tracking. Always read the rate confirmation that the dispatcher sends you, even the small print, to know what the broker's requirements and expectations are. All right, so you always read that. When you get it, takes like 2 minutes, and now you can be prepared. If they tell you, hey, you have to have 2 straps, you have to be there 30 minutes early, you have to call ahead. What else are they asking? Like for the lumpers, you have to call the broker, and broker has to pay the lumper. They will not pay a lumper in certain circumstances. Don't pay the lumper, like it's prepaid. Call after 1 hour if you want attention. So read, make sure you read it, you're prepared for it. And like down the road, if something happens and they, like you were expecting the broker to do something, but this way you knew ahead that they're not going to do it, you're going to feel better. Okay, it's going to be easier on you. You're not going to be that man, because you will know like that, hey, they already said in this rate confirmation that this is the case, and I accepted it. I accepted the load as it is. The dispatcher signed it, and I'm aware of that fact. And this thing did happen, and now they're not going to pay, or they're not going to do this thing I was expecting them. You're going to feel better. But also you can prevent that if they specify something on the rate confirmation. If you know ahead, you can prevent that from happening, and then you can get paid, or you will prevent them from charging you extra for something, for not tracking or being late, or some other stupid reason. Okay, this is it. I just want to tell you about our company, Usora Express. If you're an owner operator and you're looking for a different company to lease on, you can come to us. We are from West Michigan. You get 88% of the rate. The liability and cargo is $300 a week, and you get ELD and IFTA included in that. Okay, so everything is included in that. So ELD and IFTA are free. If you need to rent a trailer, we can hook you up with a drive-in trailer. They range from $220 to $260 a week, depending on the year. You also get the original rate confirmation right away. Some drivers are complaining about that they never get them from their carriers. From us, you get it the same minute, the original one from that specific broker. No forced dispatch. You can go wherever you want, whenever you want. And our dispatchers are former drivers. Like I said, I'm a former driver. Thanks everyone for being here. I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions, my email is always on my YouTube channel. But right here, I'm going to tell it to you. It's ennis@neverstoptruck.in, and you will also get this video to watch later for your convenience. All right. Well, again, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for being here. And I hope you have a great day.